looking at division standings, or does that not even concern you at all at this point?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, that's how you get in the playoffs and do all the things we want to do. But right now, we're just focused on finding a win.
Jesse Bates said yesterday that Phillip Rivers pretty much knew what the defense was doing. Is that because, I mean, he's a future Hall of Fame quarterback? Is that a testament to him, or is that, just bad defensive play calling?
It's a good question, Tyler. That's an interesting way to phrase that. I do think that when you got a guy who's whatever he in 17th, 18th year, that has seen a lot of defenses and can use his tells to help him be accurate. It's tough. That's one of the things he does well. That's one of the things I was always concerned about because I played against him now 5 or 6 times, and I've seen him do this a number of times. So he's a Hall of Fame quarterback, and I didn't see him miss one throw yesterday, whether he knew the coverage or not. He was on point and had a spectacular game, and unfortunately for us, it led to a loss.
Coach, on third down, I think it was maybe half a dozen, a good handful of them were like 3rd and 10 or more, and he got off the hook. How frustrating was that he converted on so many 3rd and longs? Yeah,
that was tough. It's you got to get off the field there and hit a couple on us that are frustrating. That's one that it doesn't deflate you, but you feel like you get him in a good position, and then he does it, and it's positive. I remember watching the Chicago game. He does it. They're kind of struggling on the first drive of the game against Chicago, and sure enough, 3rd and 11, he hits a 45-yard corner route down the sideline, and so that he's capable of that. He's shown a history of doing it, and he got us yesterday.
Zac, Phillips kind of struggled throughout this year, and I think that second quarter he had yesterday was the best of his career. I mean, is that concerning at all that you had a guy that was in that kind of form playing that well yesterday, even if it is Phillip Rivers?
Yeah, we certainly have to play better. There's no doubt about it. And we had too many mental errors and put ourselves in some tough positions. So it's a combination of things that we have to improve on. You don't want a quarterback like that can be as accurate as him to catch fire. That is not a fun position to be in, and that's what he did yesterday.
Coach, when you revisited that second half on offense, what did you see and why did it not turn out like the first half did from a point standpoint?
Yeah, I mean, you start with the first drive, and we were in a 3rd and 1. Felt like we had an opportunity there to convert, and we just didn't. We didn't get it done. And then we had a really a conversion on a play action. Where then we end up losing some yards. It was kind of a strange play, and then we had the offsides, the false start, 3rd and 11, the sack. And those are really the 2 that stick out as the 2 negative drives. Did some positive things, backed up on the -1, got a field goal on the drive. So there were some things that happened in the second half where we felt like we almost had points in 7 of our 10 possessions in that game, but ultimately we needed that one more touchdown. And it could have come in a couple different ways, and we just didn't get it, settled for field goals and allowed them to get back in the game because, we just didn't quite have that killer instinct on offense.
Coach, you talked a few weeks back about A.J., his time will come. And I think maybe it's a credit to Joe Burrow that it just happened to be A.J.'s time yesterday, and talk about how you responded to that.
I think that's just an example of a couple of things with this team where we know things that we're capable of, and we know they can – you can't, like we said last week, you can't panic. We see that things are able to happen, and the situation with AJ is one of them. We knew. I would have thought that coming out of the Baltimore game, it didn't play out in any way, shape, or form, but I would have thought he would have had 10 catches for 100 yards, just the way that the plan was kind of shaping up and the red zone plan that we had for him. And we just didn't ever get into it, never finding our rhythm. So this week it wasn't surprising to see what happened happen. And that's really been the message to the players is just remain patient, keep going about your work the right way. AJ has done that. And again, he had a really good game for us yesterday.
Zac, Darius Phillips was tweeting about it looked like he was tweeting some frustration about his role in the defense. He had Carlos make some comments yesterday on social media as well. I mean, is that concerning at all when you have guys maybe lashing out publicly about their roles and what their plan is here on defense?
Well, no, there's just some things that we continue to harp on as a culture, and guys know that our doors are open and you can handle things in a mature way, in a professional way. And we've got a group of guys that I believe in that want to handle things the right way. And sometimes guys get frustrated and they say things, and ultimately we end up talking through it with everybody on the team. And so it happens sometimes, and you wish it didn't, but it does. And that's just the reality that we live in.
What does Carlos maybe need to show you to get more snaps? I mean, obviously 2 weeks ago you made the change with Carl, but then Sam gets hurt and he kind of has a reduced role again. What does he need to show you guys?
We evaluate all of our guys every single week. Who's making plays, who's doing things to help the offense, help the defense, and that's all that goes into those evaluations every week.
Coach, how big of a pain in the ass is social media?
That's part of the world we live in right now. It's one of those things you don't fight it. It is what it is. It's my generation. It's the generation just beneath me. I understand it. It doesn't always put you in a great position, but that's one of those things you got to deal with. You got to manage it. Keep educating the guys. That everything you say is going to get magnified, whether you really feel it or you don't. And it's things you got to answer for. It's things other people got to answer for. But again, it's the day and age that we're in, and it just ultimately protect the team. That's one thing we just ask for players is protect the team. Don't put us in a position where other guys on the team have to answer for you. And that's one of the things we'll continue to harp on.
Zach, is there anything new on the players who were nicked up?
Not yet. Yeah, nothing alarming right now. It's still waiting to get some information. But right now, nothing to report today.
What do you think of LaShawn Sims and Darius Phillips yesterday, and what are you looking for in that second cornerback spot on the outside?
Yeah, I think overall it wasn't the best performance from our corners yesterday. I think there's been some games when they've played well and they've done some good things for us. And, it's things I know that they're accountable for, and we'll get corrected. And, again, it's when a guy's as accurate as Philip Rivers are, it magnifies things, and again, it's all tied together as well. We got to do a better job getting a rush on the quarterback on first, second, and third down to put pressure on him so that guys don't have to hold up as long in the back end. And it all ties together.
Zach, it makes sense.
You've been very consistent, Zach, in talking about patience, not panicking. Those have been your messages here, not just this year, but also last year. I'm curious, though, as a head coach, when the losses start to build, does the pressure start to build on you personally? Does pressure start to amplify when you're not winning?
You can't allow it to. It's just you don't have that choice. You gotta stick with what you believe in and building the team the right way. Not panicking. We're a couple plays away from having a really good record, but we just haven't made those plays, haven't made those calls. Again, we're all in this thing together. So again, I understand the situation we put ourselves in with our record over the last 2 years, but I also know how capable we are of getting this thing turned quickly to where a lot more people jump back on the bandwagon and want to be a part of it. But again, we have to hold together in this locker room, in this building, like we have been, and just get to that point where we can start to enjoy the success of all the work we put in.
Zach, when does your team have to start winning games to make sure that you're not on the hot seat?
That is not something that I worry about. It's just, again, not doing things just because you panic or you feel like you're in a hot seat, whatever it is. So now you start acting differently, doing different things. That's not part of the foundation that we're going to build here for the remainder of this season and for long term. And you got to do it the right way. And I believe that we have a bunch of people in this building who believe in what we're doing and how we're doing it, and that they see how quickly this tide could turn. There's really 4 plays in 4 of these games we've played where the conversations are much different, and it's just a matter of us putting the guys in the opportunities to be able to make those plays, and then when they are making the plays, and again, the conversations can turn. And so again, we just have to keep evaluating the tape, making sure that we make the corrections to where we improve every single week so that we can start winning these close games that we're just not pulling out yet.
Coach, at this stage of his career, is Geno Atkins a third down specialist for you?
Well, I think coming off the injury for us, that's how he started out, to ease him back into the fold. And, I think the world of Geno and the work that he puts in to get himself ready from that injury. And so, again, we'll continue to look at his role from week to week to make sure we're doing what's best for him in his role in the defense. And so I would never rule anything out. It's just that's the way that the last 2 weeks have played out with Geno.
Zach, you talked about having the door open for guys when they want to talk about certain things. What about guys who maybe don't walk through that door? How do you handle those guys? Yeah,
that's where you got to continue to talk with the leadership on this team. We got really about 70 guys on the team, and you try to make sure that you're in touch with as many as you can, as often as you can, and just that's the approach that we take. And it's not always easy. You know, some guys aren't as comfortable talking, and I get that. That's the world you live in. But we'll just keep working to make sure that we have that open communication with everybody.
Are you satisfied with the self-policing?
Go ahead, Dave. I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
I'm sorry. Are you satisfied with the self-policing that the leadership is performing for you?
I think there's a lot of great examples of it, and I get a lot of trust in our guys in the locker room, and so yeah, I think that we're in good shape there.
Zac, I don't know if we talked about this yesterday. Was Mixon available for that last drive?
In the last drive, yeah, he was.
I mean, injury-wise, I mean, where is he at going into this week? Because I think Gio was on the field for a lot of that final drive.
Yeah, you know, there weren't a lot of runs. There was one run called in that drive, and sometimes that's just the way it shakes out with how we substitute guys. It was more of a 2-minute mindset there. Just waiting to get more information on Joe Ben, to be honest with you. I don't have the full information yet. I think we'll probably find out more later today or early tomorrow.
Zac, the trade deadline is 2 weeks from tomorrow. I know it's not something this organization typically does, but could you envision a scenario where you guys are players on either the buying or selling side this year?
I think that, you know, upstairs they always do a really good job of evaluating what's best for the team. And so whether that involves trades or not, you know, I think that that's always talked through and thorough and ultimately make the best decisions for the club. And so that's where we're at.
Zac, how involved are you in that process? Because obviously if, you know, the people upstairs make that decision, that impacts you on the ground floor.
Yeah, there's always great dialogue. I mean, we talk every single day. And so nobody's ever caught off guard by anything. Okay.
Coach.
All good?
Coach, I just got one last question. I remember being in situations where it was really good. It was great for my kids. I remember being in situations it was really bad and it was bad for my kids. In terms of your family, I mean, are you facing any problems in that area with regard to your children?
No, they're great. Got a great family. Thank you all.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.